Alright, this is video 2 on how to set up your budget file. In the previous video, we either showed you how to set up your CSV folders and have it pull automatically, or we showed you how to copy paste everything into your transaction import. And either way, you're going to end up at this point, and this is where we'll show you how to pull that data and use it to create your repeatable monthly process. Just a heads up, this system is built as a step-by-step. For the first time through, I want you to follow in order with me. Once you set it up, it becomes very fast and easy to maintain. But if something looks off, it doesn't kind of look like mine, it's either because an earlier step was missed, or you missed an earlier step, or it's because we haven't covered it yet. I do have a couple of things filled out already, and I'll show you those. But don't panic, just finish the video, and most of the time I'll show you how to fill those out. So just a quick overview of the layout. This is your executive summary. This is where you're gonna look for a quick glance at how you're doing for the month. It'll have your estimates, your actuals, and how you vary from your estimate to your actuals. This is a snapshot of that executive summary. And then this is where you're going to put in all your plans for a month. And I'll show you how to populate that later. As we mentioned earlier, this is a section for Randy, Mary, and their shared credit card. And along with the transaction centers where you get your bank pull, and then your projection center where it shows you the future, how you're going to be, what all you still need to spend or earn, and what your balance is going to be. And then a vendor summary where it'll roll up all of everything you spent for a specific vendor. So now we're in the template tab. Noted by this right here. Note, this is the template tab. And this is just to show you that you don't want to make a bunch of changes. You don't want to change you don't want to place your date here. This is going to be your starting point for each month. So you don't want to delete this. This is your only differentiator between this template tab and a monthly tab. So let's go ahead and create a monthly tab. So the way to do that, go to where it says budget template on your tab, right click and hit move or copy. We're going to take the budget template and we're just going to create a copy. Okay. And you'll see budget template 2. Let's double click that to rename it, and we're going to rename it February. And just like that, we are no longer in the template tab. We're in a specific month tab. So we don't have to have this tab or this note here anymore saying that we're in the template tab. We can go here, template place date here. So instead of it saying that, we'll put the first date of the month that we're looking at. So for Randy and Mary, they're looking at February of 2026. So 2/1/26. And check that out. Right away, you have the transaction center filled out with everything that he spent up to the 15th of the month. They pulled it mid-month, so all they have is through the 15th. You have Mary's pulling as well, and your shared credit card pulled as well. So if you did everything right in the first video, this is what you should be looking at, provided you're in the date range that you're looking at. So now let's do a little deeper dive of a transaction view. So let's say Randy started with $2,500 in his bank account. You're going to actually go into your bank account, find out where you started for the month right before your mortgage hit, and put that in the starting balance. So now go ahead and do that for each 3 of your accounts. But for this one, Randy started with $2,500 in his account, and here's exactly where this will match up exactly with his bank account at the 15th of the month. Now what you're looking at here, this is the descriptions now, and the date that the transaction happened, and a code, which I'm going to show you in just a little bit. Now your descriptions probably won't be super clean. They're going to be something like AMZN, MKTP. They're going to have a bunch of letters and numbers. Let's actually look at one of the specific ones. So you can kind of see, like, check this out. AMZN, MKTP, it has this asterisk, X1, all these random numbers, or these, they have DoorDash with all the specific details on it. And then there's a lot of transactions in bank accounts that actually show a lot more. And so it'll say recurring charge, ACH, just random stuff that we don't actually want to see. And so I actually have a way to get rid of it, which I'm going to show you later. But right now you can kind of see how what I have in here is just a little bit more clean than what you probably have. And that's because I've already set up some rules. You can see there's no numbers in here like there were in there. So let's go to the rules, and I'll show you some things on how you set up the codes and your description simplifiers and description overrides. So let's go to the rules. And first we'll start with category list. So I've already filled this out and given what I want to track. So I want to track, or Randy and Mary at least, want to track their living expenses as L, gas is G, and your living expenses is things like their mortgage, their electric bill, all the random bills that they have, stuff like that. Income is P for paycheck. Savings is an S, D is debt. Basically, you're going to come up with one-letter codes for everything you want to track, and you can make this your own, however you want to do it. But here's a good kind of starting point for you if you want. I would just say that you might keep it kind of light. I don't think that you probably need more than 15 or 20 different category codes. One note to point is this little blue arrow type thing. And this is for all of your rules. You want this little blue arrow not to be any further than where you're at. So if it's here, you're going to have some issues with the way it pulls codes. So you want to keep it there. Same thing here, and in your description simplifier, the description override is where it's going to give you the most errors if you don't have the little arrow there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Keyword mapping. So now that we've created some codes, let's create some keyword mapping for those codes. And you can see in February that we have codes already set up. So I didn't have to type any codes to say that DoorDash is R, or that mortgage is a living expense, paycheck is a paycheck. I didn't have to manually come in and do those codes because I set up rules that said, hey, if I have a transaction that says the word payroll, it's going to have a code P. If it says mortgage, it's going to have a code L. My energy is TXU, so it's going to have an L, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of go through, look at all the transactions that's shown up, and assign those codes so that you don't have to look at those every month. It's a one-time setup, and it'll automatically show up as your code. Now, if there are certain things that you don't want to put in your codes, you can always create you can always put in a manual code. So they have a Chase credit card payment that they didn't code out. They can make that like T for transfer or P or whatever. So that's what Randy and Mary can do. Let's look at this a little bit more. Here's a recurring charge to PBS Kids. Maybe they make that, let's see, they have Y for fun money or X for subscriptions. Maybe they choose to do that. What you want to do. But if they don't want to make it its own special code that's already set up in their rules, they can always throw it in the manual codes. So let's give that a Y. And you can see that if it doesn't have its own code, it's marked as a Z and it's already highlighted. So we'll give it a Y and check it out. that one away. So this is kind of, this color here is kind of your note that you need to do something with it. The goal is to not have Z's and incomplete things. So for Perry's, maybe they wanted to, they probably don't go to Perry's too often. So they didn't really set it up as a rule. So instead they'll just make that a Y. Ticketmaster, kind of the same thing, So you can just go through that. You can either assign codes for all of your purchases or you create new ones. And so now let's go to the rules. Let's go back to the rules, and I'll give you a very quick how you do this kind of thing. And in the next video, we'll set it up a little bit better. But as I mentioned, we have a description simplifier and a description override. These basically both just help you to have better descriptions, because if you look at your transactions, you'll probably see that you can't, in some situations, you won't even know what your purchase is by looking at this, because it bleeds all the way into here. And so all the nonsense that your bank says before it even gets to the real transaction, you'll have to pull this way out to see what it is. Now, I don't like to do that. It annoys me. So I created a bunch of rules that simplify things. So most of the time, I like to get away with not having numbers in there, because usually those are just those random, very specific codes. And so I just said, hey, every time you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through 9 and then 0, replace it with nothing. And so that essentially takes everything out. So what this does is it takes a specific set of words and replaces it with something, and that something can be nothing. You can also choose to replace, so ACH credit or ACH debit, you could change it to debit or paid or something, And then you can go here and let's look for something where that worked. There you go, paid, TXU. So you can see that this had ACH debit or credit or whatever it was. So that just replaces words for you. And then description override completely gets rid of everything else. If this has the word Toyota or HEB, and I want it to say HEB grocery, it'll say HEB grocery, and it'll take out everything else that it had in there. So that's how a description override works in description simplifier. So now, that's how all of this goes. Why don't you go, you can pause this video or stop it. Go ahead and create all the categories that you want to start tracking and all the keyword mapping that you might want to start out with. The beauty of this is it doesn't just stop the first time you set it up. The more and more you look at all of your financials, you'll be able to make this to where you can do less and less work every month, because you've set it up exactly the way you want and your categories are exactly the way you want. So it's flexible, you can change it later, but go ahead and spend some time doing that. You can mess with the description simplifier or overrides if you want. These are more optional, but these are definitely the two things you want to do. So with that, I'll go ahead and end it, and in the next video we will start putting together how we analyze and create a true month. So all right, thank you, bye.